Thank you so much, Danielle, for being here. I am like pumped, super excited to be speaking with you. I love like what you're doing in this world. I'm gonna say like there's like so many like business coaches and stuff, but you've taken some things that I think need to be spoken about a little bit more, and I'm excited to get into that. You want to start by taking like 30 seconds to just share with us exactly what you do.
Well, I help people find out who they are. So many people have all these labels and words that have been piled over and over and over them since they were little kids. And they don't know who they freaking are, ST. They don't know who they are. And one thing that I realized is that there's somebody amazing underneath all the labels, all the negativity, all the words that have been spoken over us since we were kids, that we're not good enough, you're too fat, why can't be like your sister, why can't you be like your brother, on and on and on and on. We've heard them. And the person's true identity never comes out. The problem with that is this: when it never comes out, your business sucks. Your business is never going to be all that it can be because you're too scared to play big, because you know why? You don't even know how to play big. So I help people. My goal in the next 10 years is to create 100,000 millionaires through our book, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, and our live workshops that we have, our live boot camps that we have them every 6 months. That's my goal, and that's my claim, that I'm going to do it here in the next 10 years to help people really build a millionaire life, a millionaire business, because we deserve it. And most people don't think they deserve it, once again, because of all the labels, all the words, all the trash that has been put on them since they were kids.
I absolutely love that. As like someone who works with brains, and helping entrepreneurs improve how they think, many clients come and they have like labels of like ADHD is a super common one, and I'm like, they start telling me like all these things of what they have and does this work or whatever. I'm like, I don't care about your labels. Just like you said, there's you, someone unique, someone special underneath your brain, and that's what we're working on. And you obviously really bring out, I feel like, the personality and the uniqueness of every person to really like help them build their business. But how did you get into this? Like, what were you doing before you helped people build their businesses?
Well, I was building somebody else's business. I
How
still wear my
horrible was that?
I have a Chevrolet ring from General Motors, right? I was in the automotive industry for almost 20 years, actually like a month short of 20 years. And when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, that was my goal, was to buy my own dealership. But I understood business. I understood how to have just a successful team. But the thing is this, is I was so much into the dealership that I didn't realize, like, once I got disengaged and I had a time to be alone with Daniel, all the labels came off, all the junk, all the words, right? I looked in the mirror, ST, and I was like, this guy knows more than what he thinks. Obviously, I knew something, right? Because we were making millions of dollars of profit at the dealership. Obviously, I could build a good team. Obviously, I was a great leader to some capacity. Obviously, I knew sales. All these ideas came to me, and I'm like, I can be a corporate trainer, because why? I ran a corporation. And that's when the aha moment, when God put it in my heart to be a motivational speaker. I said, well, maybe I can be crazy enough to believe it a little bit. And that's all I needed, was a little bit of craziness. And the rest is history. Since then, we've grown substantially. We've just doubled it since 2020, 2021, 2022. And this year we're on a record-breaking year again. And it's because I've been open-minded. But this is a huge thing that most business owners fail. They don't think they deserve it, and they don't believe they're worthy of it,
Why do you think that is?
because of all the garbage they've been told their whole life, right? They feel that they never measure up. People think this, right? People think that, well, I have this big number, right? I'm going to rise to the number I want to hit. I want to rise to the capacity of the business that I believe I can have. But they don't believe they're worthy and deserve it. So what happens is, maybe they reach that pinnacle and then they self-sabotage because they don't feel they're deserving of it and they're worthy of it.
You want to
And
share
you
with us an
fall.
example of like how that might show up in someone's business?
Yeah, well, I see it all the time. So somebody will do this, right? Somebody will have a record-breaking month in revenue. We'll just say for them, they're a new entrepreneur. We'll just say it's their first year. They're hitting it really hard to just get to 10K for the first month. They get there, right? They finally achieve 10K and they're doing amazing. And all of a sudden, instead of celebrating it, they start to complain like, well, I could have done better. I could have done this. And then and instead of rewarding maybe their assistant or an employee they have, all they're doing is arguing with them because they're not receiving it at that level. They're not receiving it. So they're complaining, they're self-sabotaging by arguing with people because they don't feel they're worthy and deserving of it. And next thing you know, the following month, the revenue goes back down because they weren't able to handle that level of success because they didn't feel they deserved it. And
So if
another
some,
problem
yeah, no,
is that they have a low financial set point, right?
yeah,
So if you come from an employee, right? I have this big training called Kill the Employee Mindset. If you come with the employee thinking and you made 40,000 a year, right? You were making 40,000 a year as an employee. All of a sudden you're an entrepreneur. You make $10,000. You've never made 10,000 in your life. And then you don't have the capacity to receive that level of revenue, that level of money.
yeah. So let's go through both of those issues. If someone's listening and they're like, that's me. I self-sabotage every single time something good happens. What do you recommend they start doing?
Well,
Besides for
first of
working with
all,
you, of course.
yeah, you got to come work with Daniel Gomez. Yeah, we would no, but the truth is this is that you have to really realize that who am I associating with, right? If you want to know your future, who are your friends? We've heard that saying before, but at a deeper level, who are you really spending intimate time with? Who are you really surrounding with yourself? I have fun with it, right? This is what I say. Who's in your playground? Who's in your playground every single day? For me, I chose to distance myself. It was the hardest part of my life when I first started my entrepreneur journey in 2017, going into 2018, that the friends that I had were not business owners. And the friends that I had were not speakers. So these were people that were making a good living, right? I come from the automotive background. They were making about 100 to 250,000 a year, but they weren't entrepreneurs. They didn't think that way. And I had to distance myself from them. And the first thing you got to do is, who do I need to let go of in my life that is not helping me to acquire the business that I want, to build the business that I want? And it's lonely. It hurts because you're by your, there's a moment of metamorphosis where you're in the middle by yourself and you haven't quite become that butterfly. You're still that caterpillar, that old employee. And it hurts because you're lonely, you're in the dark cocoon. And that's where most people give up and they go back to the identity that they knew.
Do you think it would be smarter for people to, before dropping their friends, make new friends of like entrepreneurial friends, or if there's no space, like they first need to create that space by dropping the other people out?
Well, I don't think you drop them, right? I don't want to say that we're better than them, but I think you have to give yourself permission to understand that they're going one way in life, a different path than we're going. And I think it's like having a baby. There's never a perfect time to have a child. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
So I think as you reach, right, this is what you got to, this is the key. What I want people to understand, to answer your question for both of those, is that you have to start surrounding yourself with your future self. You have to start surrounding yourself with that future self. And for me, that future guy was Daniel Gomez, motivational keynote speaker. That future guy was renowned speaker all over the world. That future guy was, hey, the future Daniel was a successful businessman. And I think so many people just stride to get to the middle where it's, I'm an entrepreneur. Yes, I'm at Starbucks playing on my computer all day. But no, start seeing yourself as a successful businesswoman. Start seeing yourself as a successful businessman. And since you never see that in your mind, guess what? You never become it. You never embody it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is like so, so important. It's so vital, right? It starts with the brain, really, everything and how you imagine things. And that's how your brain is going to take action based on what you see. Do you mean, besides for like visualizing it and like seeing yourself, it actually putting yourself in situations where there are people who are 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of you?
Well, I think the big key for me was I hired a speaking coach. I had an idea that I could speak. I was rough. I was really like pretty raw, but I knew it was in me because I had spoken before at the dealership. I had spoken before to hundreds of people. And so the fact was I had the ability. I just needed to perfect it and worked on my gift. And the thing is, we are so used to doing everything by ourselves because we want to be independent, right? We want to prove ourselves in America. We want to prove ourselves that I can do this. But I think the shortcut is you got to hire a mentor, you got to hire a coach. And for me, I had two speaking coaches that really, right, they were where I wanted to be. So how, right, why wouldn't I go and connect with somebody that's where I want to be at? And just by doing that, it collapsed my time, like probably like by 5 years. And I truly believe that the biggest mistake that a lot of young business owners, entrepreneurs make is that they want to figure it out. And why do you want to figure it out for 10 years when you can have somebody help you and guide you and walk you by the hand and collapse that time? Think about that, from 10 years, literally in 1 year, it's going to be painful, but you can do it and you can shift that mindset from an employee to a successful business owner. So I think that it's crucial that you surround yourself with a mentor or a coach that's going to help you and guide you in that way.
Completely. What was the most challenging part for you during that first year, or just like beginning to really be an entrepreneur and have your own business?
Honestly, it was imposter syndrome. I'll never forget. I went to go speak in California. I was there. My biggest event so far was with Tom Bill U. The energy level was so high. I was like ecstatic. I was there with Alex Stern, co-founder of Constant Contact, billionaire. Like, all right, I was around a billionaire. I was around Tom Bill U, and just it was amazing. And the energy level is this high. And then next, I fly home, and then Sunday, Tuesday, and then by Wednesday it hit me, right? Because people don't realize that when you're around this high level of people, their energy truly is real. So what happens is when the dip comes, you don't even know what it is because you've never experienced it. And the dip is what you do when you're alone after a big event like that. And I just started just arguing with my wife. I started just freaking out. Like, I was so unsettled and nothing was wrong, right? We had money in the bank. We were okay. We had a decent foundation, but the thing was, it was me inside. And a friend of mine goes, dude, you're suffering from fraudulent complex. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, no, stupid, right? He goes, dude, no, like really, like look it up. It's imposter syndrome or fraudulent complex. Look it up. And I did. And the deeper dive that I took, I was like, oh man, like you start to understand that you're not right. You have to go through those pain points and you're going to cry. You're going to be sad. You're going to doubt, but you got to push that through that, whether you call it fraudulent complex or imposter syndrome, you have to push that and tell yourself, I belong on that stage. I belong running that business. I belong in being a business owner. And most people never think about that.
Yeah, completely agree. It's interesting. I like what you said about that dip part. Like most people just think it's like, oh, it's like you had a high and then you went down, but it's like, no, like this is where you actually usually are. I like that perspective, but I want to shift a little bit. I'm curious. You have like the Millionaire Mind aspect of your business and you have like the sticker shock. Which one came first?
Sticker shock came first. So when I came out, when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer and I resigned to take care of her, God literally dropped it in my heart. I want you to become a motivational speaker. So you can imagine that, right? I'm running a multi-million-dollar dealership, making great money, multiple six figures. And I walk away from it to take care of my wife. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know where to start. But the one thing that I understood is I knew business, right? I had 100 employees. I had a business savvy. I just didn't realize how much of a business savvy I had because I had never unplugged from that organization. So when I started becoming this speaker, Daniel Gomez Inspires, this lady goes, you're going to be Daniel Gomez Inspires. I rejected that identity because it sounded, right? A lot of times we don't hear it because we don't receive that word for us, right? We don't receive that name that's out there for us. And she goes, call yourself Daniel Gomez Inspires. I love it. She was like, yes, she was a branding person that I met. And it was like, no, that's so stupid. Like Daniel Gomez Inspires. So in my first videos, I would say, this is Daniel Gomez with Daniel Gomez Inspires. I'm like, how dumb is that? Right. Right. Like I would literally, no, dude, you're Daniel Gomez Inspires. So
When you introduce yourself to people like randomly, do you just say Daniel Gomez Inspires, or like do you say I trip over my words? But
yeah, no,
thing.
I do both, right? Some people call me, hey, right? Because if you look at our logo, it's DG. They'll say, hey,
Right.
DG, what's going on? So some people call me DG. Some people call me Daniel Gomez, but I usually introduce myself as Daniel Gomez Inspires. Hey, it's Daniel Gomez Inspires. Like what?
I love that.
Because that's who I am at the core. Like speaking is what got our business where it is. But most people don't embody that identity. So when Sticker Shock came around, right, I lost $40,000 in paid speaking engagements, March 16th of 2020. Everybody went through COVID. And I remember that, man, what am I going to do? Because that was right. Those couple of first years where speaking was our revenue. I'm like, oh crap, what am I going to do? $40,000 canceled. Everybody said, it's just going to last a month, right? We know it didn't do that. So by April, coming into April in prayer, I did two things that God put on my heart to do. God said, start your podcast, the Daniel Gomez Inspires Show, and start a speaking academy. So I call my publisher, right? I'm like, hey, Michael, this is Daniel, bro. What do you think about Sticker Shock Speaking Academy? I really thought he was going to tell me, you're stupid, you're dumb. What are you thinking? He goes, dude, I love it. Let's do it. Come on, let's do it. I'm like, what? I'm like, Okay, right? So it was really my good friend Michael D. Butler, my publisher, my ex-publisher, that pushed me to do it. We got, think about this. They thought the world was going to be open within about a month at least. It's July. We had people flying to San Antonio from all over the country because the whole world was closed down, except Texas was one of the few states that was open. So we had people during COVID, July 27th, here in San Antonio, and we just crushed it. It was an amazing experience. I didn't know if I was going to be a one-time event or how many times. I already had, because we would have conferences ourselves. I already had March booked. So it was natural just to redo it again for March. And that's how Sticker Shock was born. And now we trademarked it. Now we have speakers coming from all over the country, and Mexico and Canada. And I mean, we have our first one coming in from England. So
Pretty
it's
cool.
exciting. But Sticker Shock, right? Sticker Shock is the trunk of our business, because I'm a speaker. So my trunk of my business,
Right.
the hardcore is the speaking. And then Sticker Shock's a branch, our book publishing's a branch, our Millionaire Mind's a branch, and then our Shield of Fate business coaching is a branch. So it's just amazing when you just take a chance on yourself during COVID, what comes out of it.
It's crazy. Like on the other side of it, like at that time, there's like you said, like all the imposter syndrome and all like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And like I just had this crazy idea, but like afterwards, it's like imagine you never did it, like it's crazy to think of it, how many lives have been impacted and how much money was made and what a difference you made. But I'm curious, where did you get this idea for the Millionaire Mind?
That was another stage of imposter syndrome that I had to fight through.
At what stage was this? How long ago?
Man, it was recently. Like, I would say the book was released in 2022. So in 2021, we had done really well. Like I said, 2020 was a really great year. 2022, we doubled. And then towards the summers, when the idea for the book came along, and I started the book, I sent the first chapters to my assistant, and she's like, I didn't get them. I go, no, I sent them to you. And as I looked at the book, it wasn't going in the right direction. So I stopped. I didn't have the name yet. But I knew it was going to be something about money and millionaire, and I just didn't have the exact title. So I stopped writing the book, forgot about it. One day my wife came and said, hey, God said, don't forget about your book, finish your book. I was like, okay, I'll finish my book. Didn't do it. I said, I'll finish it during Christmas time of 2021, right? Because we take off that last couple of weeks. I'll have enough time. I'll focus on it. Never happened. My son came home, and just one morning she came up to me. She goes, look, God's not asking you to stop finishing the book. He's telling you to stop and finish that book.
Pushes you. She's so awesome. How's
Yes.
she doing, by the way, like cancer wise now?
She's breast cancer free. Thank God, she's
Wow.
healed. So she's my inspiration. So I start the book. I really get intentional about the book. Now it's going in the right direction. Now I can see it. The name comes to me just in prayer, the makings of a millionaire mind. We trademark it. And then we go to this big conference with John Maxwell, where he's the keynote speaker. And I'm a supporting cast, right? Where there's a lot of dominant speakers there. It's me, it's John Maxwell, Jesse Eitzler, and Dave Meltzer, and some other names in Atlanta. So I'm there, nervous as heck, and my assistant's like, "Why are you nervous?" I'm like, "Because like I'm following John Maxwell. Like I speak all the time, but I never follow John Maxwell. Come on, give me a break." She's like, "Really? You're nervous?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, when I keynote, it's just usually Daniel or maybe one other person, right? So it's no biggie. I can speak in front of the audience. I go, but I'm following John Maxwell. And I just remember God put it in my heart. Don't worry about, just get on stage and speak. I'm going to speak through you. I spoke on stage at AST, and next thing you know, people go to our vendors' tables. They're crying. We had our first book. You Were Born to Fly. We sold out of 50 books. We took like 50 books, sold out quickly. All we had was the mock up to the makings of a millionaire mind. Next thing you know, I'm like, can you pre-sell it? It wasn't finished. Remember, it wasn't finished yet. I said, look, can you do some pre-order? She goes, yeah, I think we can. 2 weeks later, we get back to San Antonio. Now I'm committed to finish the book. SD is that 75 pre-orders. Now I owed people their book. So I
Yeah.
had to finish it. I had to finish it. And I just pushed myself. So we came back January, November, right? February. We got it into kind of the final steps by March, and we launched it in April. And it's been, talk about the ripple effect. We just launched it on Audible. It's on Audible now. The book became an online program called The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, 27 powerful modules. If you go to our website, themakingsofamillionairemind.com, then we just had our first boot camp last November, and our first one. Then we just had another one in May. So we're having live boot camps, really teaching people how to develop the millionaire mind and the breakthroughs that people have had by crying and just so much, like I said, goes back to the labels and all the junk that we carry over ourselves. We
Yeah.
so self-sabotage that we don't, we're so little within our own selves that we don't even take the risk to bet on ourselves, ST. We don't bet on ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to bet on your future self. If you don't bet on you, who's going to bet on you?
Yeah. And I appreciate, aside for like that whole like incredible story, the part that I appreciate most is the fact that even at this stage of your life, of your business, like you're sharing how you had imposter syndrome over and over and over again, right? And like your wife said, like wife, your God's not asking you, he's like making you. Like when you have those pre-orders and people are waiting for it now, there's like no way out. And like you just have to do it, even with that imposter syndrome. And look what became of it.
Yeah, because you know what I didn't want to deal with? I didn't want to deal with the backlash about people talking, right? When you talk about money, people always talk about you, right? Oh, he's greedy. Oh, he's selfish. But what business can run without revenue? What business can survive without money? And I think we found that out during COVID for those year and a half of 2020 and 2021, right? You got to pay your employees. You got to pay the electricity. You got to pay the overhead of the business. It takes money to do that. And when you understand that, and as new entrepreneurs or business owners, we stop saying, well, money's not important. Then you realize that, you know what, money is important. I do need some money because if not, I can't pay I can't pay my staff. I can't pay my team. And guess what happens? We saw all the businesses that went out of business in 2020 because there was no revenue coming in. And it's sad, but it's the truth that money is a vital part of our success. Money is not just money to say to be greedy. Money is going to help you to grow your business. Money is going to help you to help other people. And when you change your perspective and your relationship with money, everything changes.
Completely agree. I love that so much. Thank you, Danielle. And before we get to our final question, where can people connect with you, learn more about you? I know you said the book's on Audible and on Amazon, I'm going to assume also, but like in general, where can people find more about you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I want them to text the word millionaire, right? Text the word millionaire to 210-942-5059. That's 210-942-5059. That's our millionaire texting community where we send out affirmations and positive millionaire sayings, just inspiration. And you can go to my website, danielgomezspeaker.com. That's danielgomezspeaker.com. Just connect with me there. And I want to give your audience, for just being so amazing, a complimentary 30-minute discovery session. Send me a message through our website, put 30-minute complimentary because of Asti. And I'm going to give your audience a complimentary discovery session to help them get unstuck or just help them deal with whatever they may be dealing with. I want to do that for your team right now, for your people.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. So, final question. What is something controversial that you believe in?
Controversial. When you make God your CEO of your business, there's no way you can succeed. There's no way you're going to fail. When you make God the CEO of your business, there's no way you're going to fail. That's the best decision I ever made when I made that decision in 2020 to really just put God first. If you go to my Clubhouse account, which I'm never really there anymore, it says God is my CEO, and it just stuck within me. And God, family, then business. And that's what caused our business to just thrive amazingly. So I would say that's one of the things that I'm controversial on.
I absolutely love that and agree with you on. Thank you so much, Danielle. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Asti. I've had a great time. Thank you, everybody.